Here we go. Notice is hereby given pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Garden Dedicated Civil Statute, Article 625217, that the city of Smithville will conduct a council meeting and public hearing on June 12, 2023 at 6 p.m. at City Hall located at 317 Main Street, Smithville, Texas. Call the meeting to order. Councilmember Jamison, will you lead us in invocation and complete?
Please bow your heads. We ask your blessings on the people who have been called to lead the community in which we live and work and play, and on the good people who live here and have entrusted others to do the work to guide us through the future. We are thankful for the interest and enthusiasm of those in attendance tonight, watching online. Help us all to remember to consider, what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to whom do we need to listen as we navigate the challenges and opportunities we consider tonight? Remind us that in the noisiness of what passes for political debate today, that we are not only leaders, but also servants, and that it is our responsibility to serve the common good. Grant us all the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good and true. May we all speak out when it is time to speak out, and listen patiently and receptively when it is time to listen. May we always be guided by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, and by the spirit of God. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Proclamation for Flag Day. Whereas the citizens of Smithville, Texas are extremely proud of this nation's more than 222 years of heritage and freedom, and are loyal to the ideas and traditions and institutions which have made our nation so great. Whereas their obvious dedication to our way of life is indicated of a strong continued desire to preserve the priceless American heritage. And whereas the 14th day of June on each year is hereby designated as Flag Day. And the President of the United States is authorized and requested to issue annual a proclamation calling upon officials of their government to display the flag of the United States on all government buildings on such day, and urging the people to observe the day as the anniversary of the adoption on June 14, 1977, by the Continental Congress of Stars and Stripes as the official flag of the United States of America. Now, therefore, I, Sharon Forrester, Mayor of the City of Smithville, on behalf of the Smithville City Council, do hereby proclaim the 14th day of June, 2023 as the flag. Councilman Etheridge will do the proclamation for Juneteenth.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas our country is made up of people from every nation on earth who are declared equal not only in freedom but also in justice, both of which are essential for a healthy human civilization. And whereas our nation was conceived on July 4, 1776, Declaration of Independence, basic statement being the only truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed under Creator certain unalienable rights, that among us these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas at 2 p.m. on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1863, using his four powers act as president, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, providing that all persons held as slaves within any state, designated part of the state, shall be then, henceforward, and forever free. Whereas the Emancipation Proclamation made the permanent abolition of slavery a union ordained by the legal framework of the emancipation of nearly all 4 million slaves as the Union armies advanced. And whereas on June 19, 1865, almost 2.5 years later, Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced the end of both the Civil War and slavery. With this announcement, the people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freed men are advised to remain at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect the military code. They will not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. And whereas the first official Juneteenth celebrations took place in Texas, have continued across the United States throughout the years. Whereas the first official Juneteenth celebrations took place in Texas and have continued across the United States throughout the years.
Now therefore, I, Sharon Forrester, Mayor of the City of Smithville, Texas, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2023 as Juneteenth. Ex-council member Bill Barton, would you please come forward and read our next proclamation? Well, I need to address you. Thank you.
Just gotta push it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to run the parliament. Homecoming week. Whereas the mayor of the city of Smithville, Texas, from time to time recognizes distinguished and outstanding local individuals and families of Smithville, and whereas the Smithville Homecoming Week has been and continues to be a fixture in Smithville and the surrounding communities, and whereas family members gather every 2 years to visit with one another and share their backgrounds and heritage with one another, and whereas family members are recognized as people who attended school, churches, and participated in all activities associated with growing up of this community, and whereas descendants live throughout the United States and are proud and productive citizens throughout the United States and the world. And whereas the mayor, city council, citizens, friends, and local family members extend a warm welcome to the family members to Smithville, Texas, and wish them well on their reunion. And let me let you do the honors of.
Now therefore, I, Sharon Forrester, Mayor of City of Smithville, Texas, proclaim June 30th through July 2nd, 2023 as Smithville Homecoming Week. Next item on the agenda is the approval for the minutes for May 15th, council meeting and public hearing, and the May 31st, 2023 workshop. Council, do you have any questions?
Presented with the change and correction. I don't know if there's a handout proper or you to read it. Change.
Yes, go ahead and read it.
Move that we approve the minutes for the May 15th council meeting, with the change being that when the discussion, the minutes pertaining to the discussion of the appointed position, Ms. Jameson, we know that Monica Foster and Victor withdrew their application during the comment period. Those was their support.
Motion has been made and second, all in favor. Now we'll hear a recommendation from planning and zoning. Hello. I'm going to read that motion.
Okay.
On a zone change from a single family and duplex district, SF2 to mixed residential MR, parcel ID 21592, funny addition, block 9, lot 2, property owner Irene Ligon, sole owner Stephanie Hoffman. Now it's your turn.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I think you have in your
Patrick property will be looking at is on Wooders, First Street, just off of the railroad tracks. It's a request to change the zoning from single family duplex SF2 to mixed residential. The only problem on middle lot in that lot. The neighbors both sides, the document followed the application. Change. Familiar with that, probably I don't know if we've got. Surface area. Is a single wide and appears to be a double wide. In there and it's. Okay, basically. The west is. So. Changing from that's a food to mixed residential. Thank you very much.
I mean, I took it as you were approving all of them with. I just took it like that. I mean, if you want to,
Okay, so I will close the open meeting and go to the public hearing. Yeah, you want to sign up to speak?
no,
Sorry.
not for that.
Nobody signed up?
No one for that item, no. For the public hearing.
And I'll close the public hearing and go back into the open meeting. Discussion and action on an ordinance amending the zoning from single family and duplex district SF2 to mixed residential MR 1502 Wooders Lane, Bunny Addition, Block 9, Block 2, and the entire block, which includes 1504 Wooders Lane, Bunny Addition, Block 9, Block 34, and 1600 Wooders Lane, Bunny Addition, Block 9, Block 1, as requested by Stephanie. Does the have any questions? Okay, Mayor, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and amend the zoning from single family and duplex district SF2, mixed residential and 1502 Wooders Lane, monthly addition block 9, block 2, and the entire block, which includes 1504 Wooders Lane, monthly addition block 9, block 3 and 4, and 1600 Wooders Lane, monthly addition block 9, block 1, as requested by Stephanie.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Is approved. Next item on the agenda, discussion and action on certificate of appropriateness for main gallery located at 201 Main Street, owners Brad and Lori Beck, to paint a mural on the south wall. Caroline, know you think you want to come and address?
Mayor and members, we had the historic preservation design standards committee meeting. I last month on May 19th. And brought before us was the request from main gallery at 201 Main Street. We have a year local where she goes, local court, where she goes. And this is not necessarily the exact picture, but because I understand I zoomed into the meeting, so I couldn't hear all the discussion. I know some of the board members there had asked a certain number of birds be included in there that were more local to Smithville, than Florida. I don't remember the names of all the birds, but cardinals, hunting birds, and chickadees, and such. Kind of do this. There was some discussion about it, about how it would be the type of paint you're using attached to the wall, and the committee does not approve the aesthetic design, we just approve whether or not it's okay to have it. Paint. They did have pictures of previously had been painted many decades ago. So, the vote was 6 approved it and 2 voted against it. Any questions about that? Any questions about it?
Can you provide any colors to why that you?
I think they thought it was too bright for the area. And it's something I think they want to see a muted tone. First, I don't have any other questions about that. Yeah, what about that? That's it, we need to go next item.
I think we have to go out of order for the vote. Would you mind just getting your hand?
Yes.
Mr. Beck, do you want to add anything?
No, I think.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for us? I'm excited to see it. I think it will be a great addition to there. And I know Mr. Beck has done a great job with the gallery, so I feel like he will do a great job here.
There was some other discussion about having the figure that main gallery up there, and some people thought it would be considered a sign, and it's, I think they did, in a discussion that it would not be considered a sign per se that's attached to the wall, because it's painted on the wall, on the structure. So it's not considered a sign.
Okay. I'm entertaining a motion.
The main gallery located at 201 Main Street, Congress and Lori Beck, as recommended by the Historic Preservation Design Standards Advisory. Second.
Motion has been made and second, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is approved. Number 12, design and action on a certificate of appropriateness to install a retractable awning for the front room wine bar located at 116 Main Street, owner Victoria Cowan. I believe she's here. And Caroline, please, give us a brief summary.
Yeah, this was also discussed that these would be temporary awnings that would extend in front of the windows to come out of the entrance. And there was a unanimous decision. Yes, it needs to be done. So it was there. Sometimes temporary on shades and sides of something, and the design that was all appropriate for the building.
I think it'll be a great addition. Maybe it's a little high. We have the chamber mixer coming up. They need to call my country.
And that's pretty much all we did.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Ms. Victoria and Michelle? Hey, anything else?
It's been a long time coming. Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the install of retractable ceilings room wine bar located at 116 Main Street, owner Victoria Allen. This one's certificate.
Motion has been made and second. All in favor? It's approved. Discussion and action on a license agreement for the retractable awning encroachment in front of the state or in practice this word. Onto the city right of way at the front Green Wine Bar located at 116 Main Street, owner of Victoria.
Certainly, council aware this encroachment agreement is required. More importantly, to identify the city in the event that the zoning falls on someone. It's the responsibility of the owner to ensure that space and the license agreement allows them to direct or attach the lines to the.
Entertained motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the license agreement for returning the awning to encroachment onto the city of Highway at the front room wine bar located at 116 Main Street, owner of Victoria Allen.
Motion has been made and second, all in favor? Approved. Hearing recommendations for the task force. Farmers market.
I do have a comment, the citizen comment on that one, number 14.
Oh,
Lee Kilgore. You want them to speak and then, okay, she wants to.
We get to hear from the committee.
You can do either, you can speak in advance or you can speak after the session.
okay, I'm sorry, I did not know there was. public comment. No,
Three people today, so I'm going to ask for created. Read. Brief overview for those that can remember or attended. There came before the council opportunity to see the portion of property. Market. I think there's generally pretty strong support in the community. Attendance here. They have substance that they had. So the red line that you see that probably is the result of the original draft city, and then red line based on those meetings that task force had. So with that, I don't know which of the three are drew the short straw to speak, but would you like to make a count? Few comments about the process and the recommendation?
I didn't agree to that, but I'll be happy to talk to it. There was general. There was a general agreement about on many that this was important to do. As a business owner, I think it's a great thing. Come downtown, be downtown, on Sunday or Saturday. There was no dissent about whether or not this was something that we all wanted to see happen. The only thing, the main points of discussion were, details. How should it happen? How should it be, placed into a lease agreement? Those sorts of saw an earlier comment about why would you want somebody to not have to pay rent and instead, pay in-kind amount of money for the marketing. That was added by the committee. It wasn't my idea. I totally supported it. The idea is that new business is often very difficult to start, and quite often not fully capitalized. The idea here was to take some of the money that might have been paid to the city, at $75 per time, It's not a big amount of money for the city. It could be a much bigger amount of money for somebody who's trying to do it. You know, the idea was to let them spend an equal amount of money toward the mark. And if they met that, get exactly how it was, but they met that same amount of money over what was it, a 6-month period, I believe?
And let me make a comment. I think it's important to understand this is not proposed, I don't believe this is city subsidized. I think that's an distinction. I think in cases about whether the city should waive fees, whether it just be a total waiving of fees or lieu of time is not a precedent. We gave the Smith Gold Training Center $100,000 in free rent for the facility. We've given money to community garden. I think the community has expressed interest in this being a community event. It's not designed to be a profit maker for the entire. And so the way I look at it, and the spending of the advertising on the fee should not be used as a precedent that we spend for business. The one way I look at it. So,
That by the hour, spending that money for marketing, bid is valuable to the community, as paying the city, people not.
Everybody really knows.
Especially for a startup, yeah.
And the city has the opportunity, if I remember right, at the end of a 90-day period or some period of time, to consider.
We're saying there's a
It's on.
Is there anything else back there? Yes, I think for us.
Yeah, I've got a question. I'm a big supporter of this program. As you know, I think it's really important that we get out of the way and let this thing go forward. Injury gas, particularly if we decide to focus on downhill. What I'm not sure I understand about, maybe we're going to guess Tom in the red line on the draft operating agreement, but we've expanded this space that's going to be available to be utilized basically from the new pavilion to the side of the chamber, which includes another structure. So we've got to deal with the rental portion of that. So I'm not sure how if that's being addressed before we take action on this.
It is not being addressed in the current. I mean, it's stated that they're going to expand from the railroad park pavilion to the gazebo and probably outside that as well. So each of those have a different rental amount that's not being considered here. You're saying it's 75, but the gazebo rents for 50. So you start multiplicative.
So that's another 1,200. I think y'all looked at that as that's pretty good discussion before me.
I mean, I
And it's
think
part of the business.
when we talked about it, it seems kind of all for us to.
Can you please come forward to our?
Oh, here you are.
Everybody, Pam, would you like to do that since y'all are all in the task force?
Thanks to it. And that the whole thing kind of just flows together. There's connecting with this new.
But I think the part that we're trying to justify is people rent the gazebo and different things, so does it all need to be? How do we go forward as far as the city? Making sure we don't have a conflict of people wanting to use it. I mean, it's just something that needs to be justified.
Right. May I recommend that? I think the intent here was to say that should this grow, would have the ability possibly to move into those other areas, but I don't think the idea is that they can move into those areas.
I think, in the present meetings, I think we need to keep in mind this is Sunday. It's from 11 or 10 o'clock. 10 or 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So we're talking about a 5-hour window on Sunday. I think, I remember there being some discussion about, you know, if somebody else wants to use the gazebo or the pavilion, one of the two. In this case, the gazebo, because the discussion was originally centered around just, it was determined when we look at the size of the pavilion, it's very small. And I know Courtney has done some recon and others, including Ted and Fred and Jeannie and others in the community, other farmers markets, they reached out to some vendors. I think that there's the expectation that at least from the outset, there's probably more vendors that you can place in the pavilion, which is a good thing. I mean, to be honest, the question that the city manager raised, I think is a really good one. When the meeting took place, nobody really had at the fingertips what the fee schedule was for the gazebo. And I would suggest, based on the spirit, that there be some reconfiguration of finances here to take it, whether it's just increase the in lieu of, or recognize that there is a separate fee associated with the gazebo, because we wouldn't want to lose sight of it. There are two separate fees. We did recently approve the fee structure, which I think deals with the facility separately. That would be, I think that was the spirit of this, is how do you divide that up? There in the pavilion there, you really need where the gazebo is.
But the grounds will be.
That's what I think. Western boundary of the pavilion all the way over. Whatever the city uses, that whole area there would be reserved for out of Sunday. I think if you get a little bit of see that's going to be an issue for future events. And so let's say, it's not disruptive. It's all, and not just farmers market, you can't separate the two. And so, or you have to be careful on how you do that. In this particular situation, because thinking. They think the gazebo is so almost useless. Maybe it can't be used for anything else. Just like use it, but you know, not asking for it. Otherwise, it's going to be sitting there. Not that good.
I'm not opposed to that. I just want to make sure that we have this thing buttoned down so that we go forward. We don't
We
have to
don't
make
write
any
any
changes.
decisions or, you know, that it wasn't justified, the use of it or the area. It's just, this is all new. And I feel we just need to lay it out that people understand. Phone calls or they're asking about closing the street. I don't think they've ever said they were going to close the street. But people have questions just because they don't know what we're going to do. And so we laid out a fee schedule with the city, and I think there's legit questions people have because they don't understand. And so it's just answering the question kind of situation. Because until you get started,
Well, I was just gonna say that one of the things that Courtney wanted to add too is a storyteller and an acoustical guitar player, something for entertainment there. So, I mean, that person could sit up there.
How many vendors do you have signed up to the first?
So we offer our vendors flexibility. So they can choose how often they come to market. So we think that by offering variety, it encourages more people to come back to the farmers market, and there might be someone new there. But also it allows people, no matter what size their operation is, if they're small, they can come to these people if they've got things to offer. You know, so right now I have about 20, but those are, some of them are weekly, some of them are every first, third, and fifth weekend. or Sunday, and those are just once a month. But I'm constantly reaching out and I'm still in conversation with at least 10 more vendors right now. who I'm talking to, and we're, they're considering. So constantly I'm still reaching out. It's my hope to grow this really big.
So where the vendors set up now, like how big is the booth there? Like how
But yeah, booths normally are 10 by 10, pretty standard. That's what those pop-up tents are, like if someone has their own tent. Vendors usually have a table, either they make an L or they have one in front, one in back. It's typically what.
So if you drew that out on the pictures, based on the amount of space that you've got. So if you had 2,000 square feet, and you've got traffic flow, and I think you've got an opportunity to have a nice full house. I'm not suggesting how we run this enterprise, but in terms of the potential fee schedule that you've got and whatever pass-through costs that you got for your vendors to be a part of, would it be so onerous that you got an in-kind contribution coming with the $850 setup, but if the way it's written right now, the way I understand it, another $200 a month based on the fees for the gazebo, whatever we call it. So I don't want to disrupt the flow, but I do want to, maybe we've got other comments or further conversation. I really want to get out of y'all's way.
A quick comment. I believe that in the lease agreement, there's a provision that whoever is doing it, in this case, Courtney, is supposed to come up with a plan. Is that still in there? And that would answer some of those questions. The plan has to be approved. So if it's your stuff, or if that makes sense, hopefully it's
I was the one that didn't bring mine. I mean, I answered a lot of stuff that I just felt like section of the city, but also to Councilmember Jameson's point, not trying to be an obstructionist. I think everyone agrees, probably everyone here tonight would agree it's one part of the wonderful thing. There's access to healthy fresh vegetables, just good quality life. Socialize, that place for local farmers, producers to have a way to sell their goods. I think that's all good. It's how it, and also point out, and the agreement is written like most city agreements are with unilateral termination rights, and 30-day termination right. So if a month into this isn't the time to serve the town okay. Then you have the opportunity. If there is a violation of health and safety, then they have to see that right. I think there's a lot of control in place for the city. And it doesn't work. Nobody really knows exactly how this is. But I do think it's good. We think. So you will have 20 vendors before you see that. That was saying all of the space.
These vendors doesn't mean that they would all be there on the same day. Yeah.
I know this would be a fun word there. Or we get on any part of this. Why don't we let her have one farmer's market? Let's do this and get this, all right, you get all your insurance and everything else. If you can pay the $75 fee, that will, on the first one, that will take care of the whole thing. We'll get this all rearranged and redone. We'll come back and vote after that. Because there's a lot of moving pieces, there's a lot of people. I don't want to say anything way. I want you to move.
There, we invite the city manager. I know he didn't actually vote.
Definitely in favor of the farmers market. The old days of Thursdays from 10 to 2. Even before that, everybody you could buy one on Main Street. I would be directed by news, and I know we expressed some concern regarding the donation. You have to think in aggregate regarding, you're not a nonprofit yet. You are for profit, you are charging fees. So the next entity that comes through wants to do the same thing, and the next entity, and the next entity, you end up having a multiplicative effect where the city is not making revenue. I know it's not a lot, but it adds up. And case in point, the building was $20,000 grant. There was another 5,000 or 6,000, we're still working on it, of work that we had to do to upgrade the electric system, fans and lights, to fix the concrete. So as I said, for you guys, it's not, you know, it sounds reasonable, but if you start adding that on top of each other, it becomes an issue. Actually, what did I tell you first when I got here?
Do what?
What did I tell you when I first came as city manager? Or was it
Nothing is free.
free is over?
Free is over, yes.
And the nonprofits were getting the rentals for free and everyone, so you have to have some control. And with that control, you have governance, and I just want the council to understand that you do it once. I know you say it's not setting precedent, but in reality it is, because how can you say no to the next group who wants to rent the same facility? So that's my 2 cents.
How are we collecting and renting the workforce training center today on?
Nothing at the point where we're going to revise that to do a memorandum of understanding going forward. Let me finish, please. Sorry. I agree with Councilmember Jenkins here. Why you rented for a couple of times, let's figure out the details. In my mind, I think we should pass with this lease agreement. But I don't believe we should be in the business to run your business. It's what you're bringing. It's a great thing that we're going to have, but I think some more time needs to be considered regarding the lease and that. So that's my thought. Ashley, you have anything else you want to add?
No, because that was gonna just be my comment, it's just the nonprofit precedents.
Does the city? They will support the city or can not do that.
I'm trying to be uniform and fair in my approach with everyone. So although it is on a case by case basis, typically, again, nothing is free. I didn't mean to cut you off, Councilman Davenport. I would forgot what I thought. So your question again was what?
Well, so I get what you're saying. But as a city, you know, this is what we'll make a decision about. Beyond being fair, what is it that the city actually? It is in line with the ability that we.
I'm saying it doesn't. I'm just saying it shouldn't be free. I mean, that's all.
Well, that's my opinion. Which is, it's more than trying to be fair to everybody. We need to be fair. In other words, can you leave the city decide some programs like the records? That's not. So it's a question of whether we're answer. You can do that. Or does it really need to be fair?
I serve the council, so it's a question that they're going to have to answer.
Spot. I don't think it's all interrupting. This kind of dialogue, but honestly, is exactly what I'd love to see the city more of. This is kind of open discussion. We are asked every day to pick judgment. We have zones. We pick winners and losers. I can't run a restaurant on my property because the city is zoned and such that I can't do that. So to say that the city doesn't get to pick and make judgment calls is not true. We make judgment calls all the time. That's our job. And what we try to do is make those judgment calls with input from community, so we have some ideas to what they value. So it helps inform us as to where we ought to focus. And I didn't mean to suggest that I didn't support subsidizing workforce training. I do. I'm a big fan of that. I think that's a tremendous asset now and in the future. But we have to decide, and I think this is personally, I think this is a very, very small investment. I think that the city has the ability, if they don't like the way it evolves, to terminate it. And I do expect, based on the conversation, this will be a 501c. I know that was a commitment that was made in the meeting. And I expect that to be the case. I think that this lease agreement is in as good a form as you're going to get without going and hiring a lawyer, which we all agree to use the framework that the city had kind of in place, and we added red line to it to make it what I thought was better. If I would rather see us tonight make some changes to content and what we're concerned with not paying, let's consider what we can do. A workshop for DD and be identified party to do the initial due diligence for, because we're concerned with speed. And now we're talking about the lighting. That's not the thing to do. I think we need to make a decision tonight. If it's prepared to make the motion, I would love to see that incorporate any changes to the red line that the council feels strongly about it. That's fees or it's reducing the amount of loop, whatever it is. I think we ought to take some action on that.
Question. What, if any, would you be comfortable with, since you're the main player, in paying moving forward? Give us something to work with. Let's see what we can work out since we are doing.
I mean, can I just tell you like what we charge people? So in order to join Market, because we're starting this year, it's, you join Market, you pay a yearly fee. So that's because we're starting almost going to July with $25 just to become a member of Market. That allows you to come and sell anytime broadband a year. Usually it would be $50, January through June. And so it's $25 a year from each vendor, and then it's $15 each week they show up. Each week they come, show up at the Market.
So say you don't have all 20, say you get 10 or 12. Let's just put a number that you have to get. So you're going to get $50 plus the fee that you get, that you can, which there in your own with what you get each time somebody shows up.
Yeah.
So would you be comfortable paying a quarter of whatever you get in the $15 to the city? I don't know if we can put that in a way or not. And council can do whatever it wants.
And we approve with all changes. Do that. I don't have to watch that.
You know, one more to come. And get it. You know, nothing ain't free around here. I mean, give a little something. I mean, yeah, and get something.
Well, how about,
Every other time you pay the $75. By a week.
just to clarify, right now, in this operating agreement we've got, $1,075,000 a week, 300 a month, 6 months, 1,800. We're waiving that, correct? But requiring an in-kind contribution for marketing, so the money's actually being spent on this different sorts of things. Money may be. So what we're looking at, to me, the simplification of this is it's probably best you go ahead and reserve gazebo, because if you got 20, you're gonna need it. So now we're getting. We got 200 miles, $500, and this whole thing work. So instead of waiting, perhaps some of us could get together and go $1,200. Or you go ahead and commit to that, and then maybe the periphery there's ways that $1,200 can be found, and that way, to me, that we've got a clean six.
Is the suggestion that you leave the agreement the way it is, but that you add $50 a week payment for the gazebo?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're really adding it. I think that we decided that this gazebo is already in the fee schedule. We haven't tried that.
But it's not in the 75. It's
Right.
it's additional. So the agreement on. So if you let the agreement the way it is, include everything, then just charge it. Within this to include a $50 a week.
Right, because the way I'm interpreting the way it's written, that's what we would be doing anyway, unless we decided to pay it.
That is.
I think that's the cleanest. That's what I'm, in my opinion, that's the cleanest way to. I don't. If you're looking at you want to start to mix. Yeah, so we're talking about $200 to make this thing happen. And without anybody make the changes, and that, I like at least the way it is, but I don't like the way it's said in whatever at the end time. What we didn't anticipate was because the way we're structured, there is a $50 per student spend. So we got another $1,200. That's the only thing we've got in between this and let's go for 6.
Well, I just want to say, agree with what I just heard. But this thing is gonna make it, not make it, based on the number of people who show up and participate. It's that simple. And that's why this marketing part, I was so much behind. It's a big deal. And it's not a big deal for the life of it. It's a big deal for the very beginning of it. Now, Courtney's not highly capitalized. And there are other fees besides just the, just this lease agreement. And my feeling with in kind was it gives her a starting chance, and marketing is huge. This area. It's getting it in the local papers. It's putting up, signs here and there. All this stuff. We don't know. This is not big money, but it is for somebody who started out. That's my 2 cents.
So, I would say that if you look at it, that's a tremendous amount of work, and they're not big. This is not a huge profit, even if it's not a nonprofit. It wouldn't make a lot of money. It's basically not a lot already. And it is a huge, to me, it's a way of the city saying, resounding yes, this is something that we want. And these can be used in that way. It's what it's saying. This is one of these unique projects that is, should have a resounding yes, we want this. And maybe raise it so that other.
It's really currently insured for $30,000. So it's ready to go. It's 2 fans. Again, Ted, to your point, it's like the movies when they come in. You watch the deal and on, the next one comes through. I'm just concerned about setting the next for-profit entity that wants to rent that facility. When you did it for the apartments market, why don't you do it? I love y'all, want to see it happen. That's just a reality that I have to deal with, assuming I continue this role. Yeah. So, yeah, I just want that out.
All right, I agree with that because we going back and video check this and said, well, again, there's good points there. So back on the last two. So the argument can be applied. We've got the responsibility to maintain the standards here. And for me, and I won't say it again after this, we're talking about 1,200. I think we can find a way. I'm just saying, maybe there's another organization, another process. We can get this $1,200 and explain.
Ted, I'd like your point of view, definitely, I love this in kind. You understand, the marketing is very expensive. So I like the way the money feels good. Redlined it, give you that opportunity for the next 6 months. And I have to agree with Mitch. $100 you know, folks in the community that, hey, this is a great thing. I don't know. Well, you did that.
Motion.
Oh,
Motion.
We all have to say your hand, you have to say the words for you. Please place it in a kind of-
I'm so sorry. Thank you for very much. Thank you. I'm absolutely excited about function. I think it's something that the city needs. It's coming in people that we need to see that are formative places. And so whatever we can do to make. Had a couple of questions. One, that $1,800 based on the red line shows that it has to be spent within the first 2 months. Marketing has to be done on the time. And so I'm concerned that you're going to use that $1,800 first 2 months done, unless y'all are expecting it to be profitable and no longer need marketing, but that's not my marketing goals. The second thing is, they're actually going to be in the farm market until 3/6. That's $112.50 an hour. If you were to take, so y'all are thinking about doing $75 as I guess a half-day commercial. In order to recoup the dollars, we're thinking, me in my head, are thinking that it should be profitable within the first 6 months. Your contract, the way it's redlined, says first 6 months, this agreement, $1,800 for the first 2 months, $0 for the second 4 months, and then an option to renew at the same terms. In my opinion, you're either profitable or not. Within the first 6 months, you should be able to see that. And so at that point, turn this contract, come back for an agreement, just make it a 6-month agreement, and then come back and renegotiate. I also think that the gazebo, taking all that space does take city, energy, lights, public services for restrooms and stuff like that, trash. We're expending as a city interest in this venue. It needs to be done. Nobody wants to come down on Monday morning and see a mess, right? So I think that there's a win available in this program. It just might need to be tweaked a little bit, and maybe tonight isn't the right night. However, you can call special counsel and have it, so you don't have to wait until another month. But the program has been incubated, talked about, tons of interest. Let's see what we can do. Any questions?
I'll say thank you. You can now move down to
We started off big. And there wasn't enough traffic to justify. We started out that way, now we're not. It's not enough traffic. Anything that raised traffic. And if there's enough traffic, we will.
Smithville General Store and Comfort on Sundays and Comfort Cafe.
Alan, what is your opinion of Sunday?
I think so, very quiet. I think I'll come and do some. It was way back.
I understand. Any other business ownership?
Hope close if you want. That is most of the ice cream.
Say hope, don't.
So fun out in terms of the friends, this friends. Perhaps we could take some action that's in the next week. You go out and secure the $1,200. I'm sure that there's going to be some help.
Thank you. I like
Or to help them share that.
Yeah, one option, I think that his comment on loading. When we were meeting, the idea was at the very beginning, and you really want to make what with the plan, is to, in a way, protect the city against having immaterial amounts of dollars. 6 months where you basically. But it's a good point. Just have the expectation that you're going to. The idea here is they want to be successful. And you're not going to be successful in the market. The easiest way to do this, I think, based on what I heard, was to simply suggest approving it with the amendment being to pay the current city rate for the gazebo. Keep in mind that the requirement to have all their vendors cleaned up, they have to leave the facility the way it's supposed to, or it would be subject to termination. They also, we have built in this thing, a lot of protections for Robert and the staff. It's not being done that way. The easiest thing is to just approve it with the fee scale. And there's no requirement, even though there's this notion coming back in 6 months, it was specifically, the city has the discretion not to approve any further waiver of fees after 6 months. Doesn't require it to renew it. It just recognizes that both parties agree to sit down again for 6 months. That's not what's reflected in here. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It should be. It's not unilateral. It's not automatic. It's that the city would party that we agree to sit down again. I don't think we want to be on the love to spend that $18,000.
Great, and if y'all dissolve that, Ms. Janice and I would be happy to come to the next meeting. I can give you confidence.
One more comment. What's the timing?
It's just in the very beginning. How long does it take? 9 weeks.
So in 180 days, you're going to be 501c3.
I do want it. So I need the requirements and
Because that's a different animal.
Yeah.
That's no problem. So if that happens between 180 days, after 180 days, this is done. You go to something else. So,
Mayor, I move that we approve the agreement as presented, that the change that the operator will pay current fee.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. All approved, all in favor? Three, all in favor? Four, and one, two, three, four. Okay, so 3, 4, and 2, and against. There we go. Motion has been made second. All in favor? Against? Against? Okay, and 2 against. Okay, so it passes. It's approved.
I would like to move just a verification. This document will need to be revised, and I think what I'm hearing is this is the first farmer's market will be on the 25th.
We got the one.
Okay, so we have 2 weeks to finalize and make the changes, modify the document to reflect what the council.
Jennifer, are you clear?
Thank you.
Discussion and action on the ordinance, closing, vacating, and abandoning a street in the city described generally as all of Pine Street between Mount Pleasant Addition, Block 36, Lot 4, Block 37, Lot 1, authorizing the city manager to execute a quick claim deed to Elizabeth Cook. Anybody claim to speak?
No.
We're working on. They already have gotten approval back in December of 2022 to abandon a portion of the undeveloped Pine Street and the following alleys. So they're just want to capture the last piece. This is what's called the street to nowhere. Okay? So it's on the hill, from Seventh Avenue. It's about a 6,000 square foot chunk of street that is not going to be open. The city has no intention of opening it. There are utilities on it. And once it's claimed to this book, it will be placed on the tax roll.
Any questions for Robert?
I will say this just for clarification, the neighbor has also agreed to pay their interest in the property where will have the entire 6,000 plus or minus square feet. Typically, he would share that, the college checks relinquished that right, so it's not going to this. Should you approve the great claim deed?
Just to try and quantify this, we've got 0 income coming in terms of right now. And this part that we're going to put claim announced to be added.
That is correct.
Had any adjustment evaluation.
Well, the city law right now is about 30 grand. Middle of it. So times the tax rate. Do that calculation, give it.
I can understand the letter. I'll check. He's stating that he. Area, but he. Level the rights.
That will be $164.70, Councilman Jameson.
Okay, we have. We must make the emergency.
I move we approve the ordinance is proposing vacating and abandoning the street in the same described on Plain Street, Mount Pleasant, District Lot 36, Lot 4, and Lot 37, Lot 1, authorized. Plain deed.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Motion is approved. Number 17. Discussion and action on ordinance amending the planning and zoning ordinance.
I do have Ms. Kilgore, signed up to speak on the planning and zoning ordinance changes. After, okay. I just remembered. No.
Okay, Councilman, this was an action that's been out for since at least February to revise the ordinance, to clean up the ordinance to remove any ambiguity, document member qualifications, expand the rules, regulations, procedures, and find the correct statute references within the ordinance. The council is,
Revision, as I understand it, in our package says that all vacancies shall be filled in the same manner as the original. Appointment is made by the city manager, is that correct?
that is correct. The only two boards that I have input in are the airport advisory board and planning and zoning commission. Recommendations, the council is the authority.
I remember, I apologize, I don't remember exactly, it was a year and a half or so ago, the presentation, and suggesting, I don't remember whether you made the recommendation or just a suggestion for consideration, that this was the only board or commission that was different. And there was some feedback that I remember, commission raised issues about the solicitation of those appointments. There was discussion about keeping that in the hands of the city manager, so the city council would become a political issue. There was some discussion on that. And your response back was that they decided to approve the change that you recommended. So I don't remember it that way. I remember the plan was only, at least there was some dissent or disagreement about what the change. But while I'm trying to understand, based on emails from Jennifer, this is done the same way as all the other boards and commissions. I just want to be clear it's not, or it is.
The recommendation for appointment, in this case, with the planning and zoning commission, and the other is the airport advisory board, comes from the city manager. All other boards, recommendations come from the mayor. Consideration. That's line item change.
So that's still proposed to stay the same, not change.
That is correct.
Okay. So it's not really a change, and it's proposed to stay the same way, and that's the same way with the airport.
Yes.
The other thing I would say, and I may have circulated this to Jennifer, and she may want to weigh in. Used to be here, not going to support something that is unless in the as long as they meet the residency requirements, they're the same for any of us. Thank God. So I won't support something that doesn't change it unless our attorney tells us that being inside the city and paying sales tax, it is that requirement, but I'm not supporting anything. Someone can be a renter in the city. Certainly.
Conversation with our legal counsel said that's really up to the council. Whether you want to say taxpayer, whether that be a property taxpayer or a sales taxpayer, we recommend removing the statement that says you shall be a taxpayer. Because it's ambiguous.
Yeah, we can add some more stringent requirements in the own case.
Well, I don't think it's constitutional. That's beside the point. is wide, so I would appreciate, whenever we do make a motion, do tonight, I would like that to include.
And then, so we're looking at expanding this, keeping the same, and the number. The other question that I got is, in terms of the process, allowing the voting requirements. So for instance, for 5 members and a mayor voting, E and Z is now just 5 members. So we haven't noticed there was some discussion, and I'm not sure if it's been consistent to be applied during the E and Z votes as to whether all 5 members are voting, because then there shouldn't be a tie if someone's not there. I think we need to clarify that, but I'm not sure exactly what we're doing at this point. We're talking about expanding this 7, 5.
Major changes, that was a recommendation, but, right now that is not a recommendation, we're going to leave it. Number 104033, 5, to whatever procedures and protocols, because there has been some confusion as to, does the chairman vote, do they not? Council is the only entity whereby the mayor or goes to the top. All other boards, the chairman can vote. We are in the process of modifying board policy and procedure to clarify, to remove that ambiguity out. The other thing we added was that if you miss 25% of 4 out of 12 meetings in a year, you could be removed by the council. There's also language that added in there about being a subject matter expert. Certain entities or individuals with various backgrounds to serve would be a requirement. Regarding the process, we provide when I select someone who wants to serve. It's the same as the other board processes in that find someone who's willing, wants to, and they'll go through the application process, fill out the qualifications and submit those for your consideration. Typically, I will call through those and provide you the individual whom I think falls to the top. Okay.
And I'm perfectly comfortable knowing that the board is open to our citizens to express interest to us. We can certainly consider that.
Indeed, that's part of the process. Someone that's going to be happy, we'd like to serve on the planning and zoning, or the councilman may recommend someone, or the mayor may recommend someone. After I validate that they still have interest and are willing to serve, it's kind of part of the willing that I do before you get your the application.
Yeah, college money. Experience, so that we can reach out to subject matter experts. We just really understand what we have here, and I think there's a couple of things that people notice that we really good. I'm just not sure. There's been some question. I've seen comments in social media and also other constituents say that sometimes they don't have enough to volunteer to fill out a committee, and that the number of action items might be enough. But I do think, particularly as we move through this new council, there's a lot of proactive things that are being done. And I think that there will be more things coming for PNC, especially after a workshop this with SDR and the subdivision. Right. So I think there are some people out there who are willing to serve and do have some broader subject matter expertise. So I'm not necessarily opposed to that to make up where there were to be 5 members and a chairperson. Throwing that out there, I'm saying that I would be inclined to agree with that. I'm just not sure if that's the direction.
So
was asking, so.
I don't understand. I mean, I personally don't, I really don't have. concern. If it's City manager doing it, because my experience has been that he's been receptive to that. But I will tell you, in my own mind, it makes no sense. One or two commissions, I think I've heard of the reason why it's different. And I would also ask this question. Planning commission members serve for periods of 2 years concurrent with the mayor, I think is the way it works. Is there a provision for the city council to reconfirm at the end of every term? The planning and zoning members, and if not, could that be added to where the council has, when these terms mature, that the council has the opportunity to confirm them? That way, there's an opportunity for council members to weigh in on the existing composition or whether it makes sense to move around.
Yes, sir, that process has not changed. When their terms come up, the month before, we bring it to council for your consideration. We'll say, well, such and such would like to be reappointed to the serve. We can approve or don't.
And so that's still being proposed to be the case. The other thing I would is, this is a question under, 104.3A1, where it says regular and special meetings. So, do we need to add anything about open meetings because you have to comply with open meetings?
There is verbiage in the rules and yes, in their rules that we're going to update. There is that says that you have to follow the Open Meetings Act and the Public Information Act and all of that in their rules.
I think I remember when you were voting, that you sent an email out to all of us. And who actually was looking, from the resumes, and had a chance to look at it. And then we so we're gonna just continue that process.
Yes, ma'am. And oddly enough, I have a waiting list.
Yeah, so maybe it isn't hard to go to 7. I do think that we had this, we had a Mitch was appointed to. I think we all agreed that getting involved in boards and commissions, planning and zoning being one of the more prominent ones around, is a great way to keep learn a little bit about the process. Something matter standard or a subject matter knowledge standard, as I think some people comment on, along with recognizing people who want to get involved in city government. This should be a wonderful opportunity.
Ms. Kilgore still wants to speak.
Oh my God. Thank you for hearing me again. I have a few questions. In the section, and don't get to answer my question. Okay, so section 1.04.033. It's the
I hate to interrupt, but point of order is, it will be the mayor's decision whether your questions are answered.
Okay.
It's just comment
Thank you.
only for 3 minutes.
Thank you. I understand. And I'll try and be brief, but my question is in regards to this section that references local government code 211.007. The reference to that is home rule. We're not home rule. And so I'm wondering why that is in there as red line.
Should be a 6. I think we, catch.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, for city manager led. And so the nuance of changing from the city manager reviewing, approving, and then making recommendations to the council. I don't understand why that is getting revoked. And then in the comments that Councilmember Elbridge mentioned, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, and it can stay the same, then that makes sense. The other question I had is that there's an opportunity for in the very first section, 1.04.031, that members of the commission may be removed by city council for cause defined in writing or upon the completion of their assignment. And that's been in there before because it wasn't redlined, but I don't understand for cause. What does that mean? Where does that come?
That's a general statement that our GC put in that you'll see in a lot of boards. It's, you know, serve on the public zoning commission. That can be defined if you would like this.
No, I just want to know if I was in the acting out in your job as a commission.
May or may not be what's considered.
Thank you. And then the last thing, thinking about having subject matter experts, when we look at the pool of people who are available to serve, it is typically, do I want to serve and my ability to serve, do I have an interest?
Yes.
Continue? Yes, thank you. I need to get to the subject matter expert that understands zoning, building, class, etc. Everybody is assumed to be educated, that is obviously putting in their application to learn and be on the commission. When you change that, when you move in the direction of subject matter experts that are strong, real estate agents, developers, builders, when you start putting those kinds of people exclusively in this kind of committee, commission, what's this one? You take away the everyday Joe. This is my house. This is my neighbor. This is what's happening in my neighborhood. It's a defined move and shift in a way that is concerning. That if that's what you only want on that committee, then yes. Thank you.
And council, just to add to that, that could provide an opportunity for a conflict of interest too in some cases, depending on what's up on the planning and zoning's agenda. Of course, they would abstain.
Nancy, how many years have you served? I served in excess of 1920, not in a row.
Yeah.
Until the last 2 years, I was also chairman.
Yes, I'm Nancy Catherine. I've served on and off planning and zoning for at least 20 years. The businesswoman in this community. Company on several weekly newspapers. I've been printing. I will say, I will agree with Dan. One of my big concerns is serving with people, and I have served with many, many capable people. I believe you said one planning or something, didn't you?
No, ma'am, I went a lot of meetings.
I didn't love you to do that was very short. The people that I have worked with have come from all kinds of backgrounds. What worries me particularly where your city is very fragile. It's not being identified as some developers. Although we have three housing developments right now, just hanging.
is motives that some people might want to serve or some people want to. For example, realtors. Now, I know, I don't want a realtor has said, no, planning and zoning is not a place for realtors. What you do planning and zoning, you've got people working with you that are active in the community. They know the community, they know what the community wants. When it comes to, I think if I had one of the people to price, the exact one, I wasn't misread, I think I can read the plan easily. Although there's some that we got, and they drawn that are questioned. What Robert has brought up has been something that he's been concerned about on any elected board is that is personal agenda. And if you've got a personal agenda, you should be serving on the board. If you've got an interest, you pick that agenda aside and you work on each project individually. And I have worked with all different types of people, men, women, all different colors that have been in planning and zoning, and every one of them. We've all taught each other different things. And I like to tell you that I have been the beneficiary of most of the knowledge. And I'm really glad that Ryan Reed has been our chairman for the past few years, and that current board is very, very interested in all kinds of things, and can make plans, can deal with money. They're great business people, and that's what you need. Business people who love the community they live in. I'm sorry. Thank you. That's just, yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's work with them.
Wait, we're off the motion. I just want to clarify, okay, you want to do two things on the thing. And then verify the building code 11-007.
At what point you're gonna come back and look at the makeup so that it's going to be a 5-person commission with the chairman voting on all, or we're gonna look at it? It's a change when we went to 5 planning and zoning members and the chairman who would vote only in the event of a tie. I'm just trying to see if we're trying to align with the different boards so that we all look.
Well, of the 6 boards that I think we have, this entity is the only one where the mayor only votes for those time. Every other board that we have, the chairman votes. So we're not changing anything different. Planning and zoning, we're going to document it because it hasn't been documented. And so I think that's what number 5 is.
Someone this last meeting, which I was not able to attend. In the video, but I'm not sure. What was did we end up with a time of there? So was it 2-2 and then the chair waited to the end? Or I got different reports of what happened. So this is one of the reasons that I'm bringing this up. And I know that Mr. Cooper, we had discussed this at a meeting. Remember? Or there was some discussion of whether or not protocol was for the chair to wait and break a tie, or if the chair was voting all issues. So just looking for that. And I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm asking.
My understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is the chairman votes. And this is an advisory board, that's not definitive, so you can have a recommendation come to the council to, and typically reported on the vote. Research percent share of them. So I do think it's a little bit different than the council not having a tiebreaker vote, because you don't have to have a tiebreaker. And is it stated by the chairman? Really always, I think Chairman Rigby has said in the past that he always believes that he. I think that would be, I think this is being structured.
So we're not changing anything, we're just kind of.
Well, there's a lot of changes. Yeah, we're in terms of business, yeah, okay. Just one point, what I mean. Meeting. One attorney's. You see that a lot in joint venture agreements, various operating business agreements, the removal of someone. Workflows is one of those really difficult. It's not one positive. I don't know if there's a statutory cost definition in terms of removing officials. If not, I would strongly consider we remove that for cause and say that the council is approve its discretion. But there should not be a full standard. We can debate when we decide to remove someone as to whether it's appropriate. That should be enough for cost. I'm not going to suggest we change it here, but I would like to see us talk to Jason about that. There's a definition, statutory definition. But if it's just language that lawyers like to be hearing and work on, that's a lot of work to remove someone that is not elected by people. It's a totally different standard that we should hold. We should not give them to remove someone. Do you want to motion? Mayor, I move that we approve the planning and zoning commission changes as presented to you by the city manager with two changes, one being the removal of the reference to area and the first paragraph, and also verification and correct insertion of the
Has been made second, all in favor? Approved. Item 18. Discussion and action on having an expert council meeting each month and extending the regularly scheduled meeting. You guys signed up?
Ms. Kilgore. You didn't.
Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts?
I mean, are we going to discuss this? We should discuss it. First opinion is it's beyond 2 hours. The overall thumb is to make a movie. Put a movie in it's more than 2 hours. You can do a 2.5 to 3 hour down, but we're consistently doing 2.5 to 3 hour meeting. I'm gonna need to put time.
Now with the budget coming in, the plan workshop that we're gonna have, we just got a workshop this month. All the things that are happening, I think we need to stay. One meeting. I think then we visit this at the first of the year after we get through with all of the points that we're going to be going to the end of the year. I'm inclined to, I don't believe that the second meeting. I think that starting to tax the available resources of Robert's staff. Robert will always tell us if we finally done that he needs more resources. But at this point, I don't see the need to a second.
Because we do have a lot of workshops coming up here in the future. Budget, that's gonna take a couple of workshops. And I don't mind staying night, so I would say that we should stick to morning. Next, all of these events.
Wow. Bring everybody, big once a month. I'll make a motion that we have one meeting a month.
Discussion, motion has been made and second, all in favor. 2, 3, 4, 5, approve or wouldn't?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's point of order.
It's okay.
As the agenda is saying discussion and action, having an extra council meeting, you need the antithesis of what you just said. So you need to make the motion and then deny it.
Well, we don't, do we even need to make a motion? Take action for a change.
Say no action. Right, no action.
So I'm changing Tyrone's motion to take no action or
No action.
no action? Or we're just no action? No motions, no action.
No motion, no action.
No action taken.
No action. Discussion and action on clarification, the rule of procedure, conduct, the forum at meetings of the Smithville City Council. Sign up to speak?
No.
Motion with me. Any questions about number 19?
Comments? City manager answered, we went here today. One was on item 2. I know this being. Anybody that- Clear. We noted, so.
What do you want to add? City manager action.
Yes, to add it to the.
Yeah.
Council persons. Because right now it says council person and mayor to council person. Then you need to add council person and city manager.
Okay.
Just a comment to your comment regarding item number 2. Whom you can invite depends on the reason you're in executive session.
So we changes or you just gotta do, make sure the language gets in there, whatever. It's pretty much
The officers of the city.
yeah, the law is what the law is.
Yes.
It's okay. Move that we approve the rules and procedures as presented with change being to add council person and city manager. Right.
Motion has been made and second, all in favor. 2, 3, 4, 5, approve. So discussion and possible action on the city's website and message board update. Commissioner Andy?
So. You should have. Want you to be able to interact that has a person chart showing you the 3 companies that we can look at. And, the reason we're back on this is because the recommendation that, I made to the principals on the Civic Plus, there was a substantial difference in favor of the equity as quotes. And after further discussion with them,
We had a misunderstanding. We had a meeting with them. Janice, Councilman Bruno was there. And the city manager was present, Jill Struby, and supervisor was present as well. And we discussed the engagement platform in a little bit more depth. The representative of Civic Plus, and they answered our questions, satisfaction, and they gave us some quote and see it there. The original one was about 85 or 8,700 as an initial setup fee, which was substantially lower than the other two companies that we were looking at. And what can practice. And now with their new quote, we can see that they're much closer. They're still less than the other two. And the difference still, however, is the ongoing years. They're still just going to have $150 a year to continue to maintain that with the new website and the platform. So I would still recommend that we go with Civic Plus. And always you folks are next to the Civic Board, specifically Civic Plus, when I went around researching, their company always pops up and KHB has it for us. So did you want me to show one? Can you do one? Can you do us? Yeah, we work with Civic Plus. I don't know why they're doing it. You scroll all the way to the bottom. Because the requirement is that it's on the City Council left board, you click on that, and it shows you the PhD message. And you go ahead and click on that, that line says City of Austin Council message. You'll notice that it shows you all of these items that they're discussing, how many replies there have been, how many views there have been, and the only people I can answer are council members and so the administration, because the next council members ask questions and clarifications about what was answered on the state council. Another example, if you would switch over please to the page, and on this one, I do want to point out that on the bottom there, it should say, yeah, it's got your website by the I can point out that this is a Civic Plus. There's across the board message for you. And on this one, I think this one because it has an extra feature right there, top highlighted, it tells you what the message is. That's the thing that we built into. So that everyone knows this is not an open forum, it's not an open discussion. And it also reminds the council members they are there to whatever it is that you folks have to be able to.
Yeah, I met with the mayor, Sam Marcus, she's from Capcom, and she's been there like 14 years. And so I was telling her, we're looking at various platforms, and they are just, and then Kelly McKenzie, she's on city council in the city of Boston. So, and let's see, she was on the last message board, 75. Of course, those council members make about $130,000 a year. That's so nice. But both of those folks, when I talked to them, and then we met with the company at Civic Plus, and we had a long webinar with them, a Zoom call. We were able to demonstrate this. The other two companies, I really wasn't impressed with their presentation, but yes, I like Social Pinpoint and Civic Plus, but I think Civic Plus is just a little less Social Pinpoint. And after talking to the two, San Marcos and City of Austin, they both highly recommended it. So, thank you, Randy. Civic Plus.
It's actionable, right? This is just an update. We've already approved entering into a contract with Civic Plus. I just wanted to end where we are, and to that point. Can you pull that in? The timeline doesn't change from them. 4 months. That includes them sending a team to work with our departments, and you can do on the instant activation, but it's not instant. They can just migrate the information as is, and then they can just forward it and fix it along the way. Or we can send it. It's only running into one. No, actually, but they should also consider plus other people operate or seeking fix systems. So that's another reason we have to deal with other service providers.
Actually, thank you, Andy. Next picture. Discussion and action on approval. Report. I'll say it with you.
Along with the revenues and expenses for controls that they don't own some of them. It was really good for middle time and it's. Then we're becoming.
One yesterday on the heat. Sorry.
Fuel costs is something. How did it go with, you know, we sent out the letter about the utilities and I noticed we still had. Anyway, how did that all go? Because I was in your office when we were talking about it a couple days before it happened.
Yeah, 40. 35 to 40 individuals. These are come up this week. That's right. That's right.
Oh.
Any other questions?
Earlier.
Mm.
Okay.
Motion would be approved.
Motion been made second, all in favor? Approved. Have two announcements. One is sad. The condolences to the family of Beverly Robinson, who passed on June 3rd, 2023. Beverly attended campus city council meetings over a 5-year period and earned a reserved seat. Services are tomorrow, June 13th at 11 o'clock at the First Christian Church. And our next city council workshop will be held at City Hall on Wednesday, June 14th, 2023, beginning at 5:30 to review the draft subdivision and short-term rental. Go ahead, please.
I don't know if any of you know, Jerry Baxter has been in the city for a long time, and his mother, who was, or mid to late nineties, passed away, I believe, in months ago. So, very young, he's not young. And he's really struggling.
Yes, there is. I would thank you for everybody who fixed your broken down sheet. Sorry about it.
One more announcement that didn't make the list that I just found out about. We're going to do another workshop, the first to discuss grants, how grants are prioritized. Just another workshop.
That's fine.
Thanks to everyone who came out to the fly-in. It was awesome.
She does a great report. I mean, the reports are really fantastic. They're very thorough. There's a great grant report that's in there. And actually, I really appreciate the month for providing in your report. So thank you very much.
So, everyone Robert said, I am for makeup day. Because I believe, I mean, when I got in there right after the open, I could go all the way down through here and down. So, is it more organized this year? Another thing I would point out on the report, I don't know if this has ever been in before, I've seen a police report that was provided. It's interesting because patrol officers wrote 19 warnings from May 1st to May 1st. May this year, they wrote 19 warnings. Same period last year, 69. Same period. They put 92, 15 citations for May of this year. The same period last year, they wrote 92. So there's a significant drop off year over year for the month of May in both warning and citation. I don't know if there's any insight as to why that drop off, but that's a huge difference. Whether we're being less aggressive, whether the expense.
We are down 2.5 officers. So we're trying to recruit and bring some folks in. Then okay that we do. We're gonna try to fix that. That's the reason.
A number of arrests in this year versus last year.
I think we need to let them do it better. We can actually say in terms of amount of officers available for calls. And thank you for being here, young man. Meeting adjourned.